Leil is primarily a Twitch streamer. This video has been edited from a longer stream to remove excessive pauses.
There's a couple of games that I started last year and I only finished this year, like Dave the Diver, for example. So, I did play a lot of Dave the Diver. I think overall, it says I've played about 90 hours, which makes sense. I did play quite a bit of it. But I think the majority of me playing Dave the Diver was last year, not this year. So, this is in grid view. I think it's gonna be easier for me to go through it in terms of how Steam has it arranged, which is like most played this year to least played this year, which both is a little surprising and is also not surprising, considering which ones are up there versus which ones are not. Plus, I'm the sort of person who bounces between games fairly frequently. So, all right. I guess we're starting off with Wylde Flowers. Wylde Flowers, I think, is one of those games that is like 100% in my S tier or A tier range. Honestly, until I had finished the main game, I would have definitely dropped it right into S tier. But after I was done with the main game, there wasn't really that much left story-wise. So it like really went from 110% of all the drama, all the action, all of the stuff that I was just chasing after the story to suddenly going to, I want to say 50 or 60, where there really wasn't much left to do. So I don't know exactly where to put it. It is a game that is still like being developed. So I think A is probably the best option for it. If only because there's still like probably more that will be introduced for this game. It's got a really solid story. I loved the interactions between the many characters. I love the facial expressions that they had in the cutscenes. I love the intricacy of the cutscenes. I kind of wish they had better options when it came to like the outfits available, because there was definitely a lot of outfits that I felt like they should have changed XYZ thing. Like, I felt like they should have maybe added a little bit more variety on some of the outfits, or considered her skin tone when they were making these outfits. A lot of the outfits started to feel a little bit more like reskins, where it was just like, it's just in a different color, or a different, like, gradient, or, like, it's the exact same, like, it kind of boiled down to, like, 3 different outfits at one point, where you had a dress with a V-neck and like I think they're called flower cup sleeves. I'm not sure. The sleeve I'm talking about is apparently called a circular cup. It's basically, it kind of looks like a little flower and it's very very short. So you see the outfit that she's wearing right now. That is her go-to outfit, and you eventually unlock other outfits, but then a lot of them turned out to be just variations of the ones that she had. So there's like a jacket, shirt, and jeans combo where they just switched up the colors. There is a short sleeve dress that she would wear, where my favorite variation was like the blue one, the red one, and the green one. But I always felt like certain colors looked a little faded, whereas other colors looked a little. Ooh, hello, hi. Your character moves to the island in order to help her grandmother, who is getting on in age, take care of like the farm and the garden. You slowly like restore the farm and the garden because things have broken down over the years, and your grandmother's not really able to handle it anymore. And you slowly you find out that you're like, spoilers. This entire stream is going to be very very spoilery, so I would apologize, but I wish I felt sorry about it. So Wylde Flowers farming sim, you find out that your grandmother is a witch, and you join the coven that she's part of. The whole point of that coven is that, unfortunately, the island is one of those kind of magical places where the weather doesn't respond normally. So the Coven in secrecy is forced to change the weather. They turn it from spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter, yada yada, etc. etc. So there's a lot about the fact that they are a hidden coven. The other people don't know that they are witches. And there's a lot of interplay there, especially when there is a series of witch hunts that occur. Now, I loved this game. It was really, really fun. It was really, really like grabbing. The story was crazy, and there were so many like drama moments. It was just delicious. However, once you get past like the first year, everything goes from like 120% to like 60-50%. So it slowed down so much, and that was jarring. I kind of wish they did a little bit more. Like there was a little bit more meat in the second year. The game is still kind of in progress. They're still releasing updates for it. Like recently they released an update where they've added a couple of new storylines, but I've found difficulty actually activating some of the storylines. Like I managed to get one of them to run, but I couldn't get the second one to start. And you do need the first one in order to start the second one. So I'm very confused as to why I haven't been able to trigger the second storyline. Anyways, that's why I've put it into A tier, even though I was gushing over it like for so long. It probably needed a little bit more work than what it got, but it was still really, really good, and I would definitely recommend it to other people to play. So yeah, Wylde Flowers into A tier. All right, next game. So the next most played game on my list was Cult of the Lamb. Now, I really, really liked Cult of the Lamb. I started playing it because there was that whole the Unity thing about trying to charge people for like how many times their game gets downloaded or something like that. I can't remember the exact details now, but that's why I downloaded the game in the first place, because holy shit, why the fuck would you do that? Anyway, Cult of the Lamb, I'd probably put it in S tier. I haven't really had any issues with it. I really liked the story. I really liked the gameplay. And I really like the fact that there's so many accessibility options in it that allow you to kind of mess with the mess with the game a little bit. So if you have difficulty remembering to like make food for your cult members. I wanted to say farmers. That's not the thing. Cult members. If you don't have enough ingredients to make food, and then go for your crusades, then you can switch on things like having time be paused when you are away from the camp, and that way you don't have to worry about like the faith being dropped or whatever. It just makes it a lot easier. I really appreciated that. I definitely switched that on. Like, so that's one of the first things I switched on. I might one day go back and do like a hard run of it. I don't know when that would be. That's just going to be on my mood. But I really do enjoy that game, and I have no issue with like just running through like just a practice run of one of the dungeons just for the funsies. So yeah, Cult of the Lamb. Putting it on this list, it's going to be S tier. Next up, Sunhaven. Not surprised that Sunhaven is also another one where I have like a lot of time sunk into it, despite the fact that Sunhaven was one of those games that I played at the end of the year rather than at the beginning. If I look at my Steam list and look at the timeline view, I'm trying to see when I started Sunhaven. November. I started playing Sunhaven in November. And despite the fact that I started playing it in November, it is the third most played game in 2024. So 6% overall. Not a surprise. I do have like a lot of games on this list this year. I sunk a lot of hours into it. That game is really easy to sink hours into. It is very much like how you would sink hours into, say, Stardew Valley. Like, if you have a character that you like, or you just like the gameplay, or you're a farming sim enthusiast, this is the game for you. like they have. I like the fact that you can. There's a lot of like um customization in making your own character, but then also things like how you have your farm set up, the sort of things that you can do, the quest lines that you have. Like I said, really been enjoying it. I probably wouldn't list it as like the best one ever because there's a part of me that really wishes they'd made some of the other characters romanceable as well. Like every single character in the game is not romanceable, unfortunately, and there was a character that I like immediately latched onto that is not romanceable, and that actually is saddening to me. But there are a lot of good characters that are romanceable in there. I can totally see Lynn, for example, being a huge draw for a lot of people. She's like one of the first people you meet. She also moved into the town at the same time you did. And there's a lot of like, she's very endearing as a character. So, but there's also a lot of other different types of characters, and each character is like a very archetypal type. There are some things I do find I do take a little bit of issue with. You know what? I probably would move this into like a B tier if I think about it. Like S tier is supposed to be best 10 out of 10, would play again. A is really good, would play again. B, good game, not super grabbing, but fun and would play again. C, good game, but not a go-to. D is a might return if issues are fixed or something changes. E is major issues or story is weak or probably would not replay, and F is god awful. I know it like there's like such a curve in between the levels, but that's how I generally tend to rate them. No, I guess I'm gonna keep Sunhaven in the A tier because I totally would like replay from the beginning if I like ever got around to it. I'm still not done with the game; it's still going. I'm like in winter of the first year, and there's a lot to do in this game. So, yeah, that. Next up, Fields of Mistria, which I probably will end up putting in the B tier if I think about it. Why is Fields of Mistria in B tier? Because it's still kind of in early access. There's still a lot that they need to add to it. And it's clear that they're like intending on eventually adding to it. They just haven't gotten to that point yet. For example, I started playing Fields of Mistria back in August. I started playing in August, September, October, November. By the beginning of November, I had reached a point where I had gotten to the bottommost level in the mine. I had finished most of the quest lines, and I wasn't getting any new ones. And I had filled out so much of the museum, so much of like all of the other stuff. I think you get to like level 30 in the mines, and there's evidence that there's like up to level like 60 or something like that, but you can't advance any further because unfortunately they haven't released that part of the game yet. So yeah, I think overall, B tier. Good game. It is super grabbing. It's fun. Would play it again, but it needs more work. There needs to be more to it. Like the storylines are not even close to finished. I haven't tried to romance any of the characters, but then I don't really know enough about the characters. I feel like they need to flesh that out a little bit more. Also, I know I did say Fields of Mistria has the Minako lookalike. I kid you not, that entire game is just filled with sprites that makes it look like it's a 90s anime. It's not a bad thing. I enjoyed it. I loved the shit out of it, and it did add a nostalgic factor for me. But that is a very valid observation. That's all I'm going to say. This next one may actually end up being pretty far down the list. So Fae Farm, cute game. Love the personalization that you can do in the game. It's got a lot of charm to it, but it has a lot of glitches too. Like there are a lot, and I do mean a lot of instances where I was just railing at the game for getting stuck on things, not really having much of a storyline. I think my biggest issue with Fae Farm is the fact that you can reset the relationships at any given point. There is no there's barely any requirement to there's barely any requirement to actually go around and do any of the things that it expects you to do. Like, I was wholeheartedly going after all of the quests in the game and trying to fulfill them, but a lot of them were like, oh yeah, you can't do this just yet because you have to be in this particular dungeon, which you don't have access to yet until you finish this particular quest line. And with that particular quest line, you actually need to have this particular farm unlocked. And with that particular farm unlocked, you actually need to have it became too much of a grind. So I'm putting it directly into the E tier. Like, major issues. Major issues. Considering I played Fae Farm right after I played Wylde Flowers. And wow, now compare Wylde Flowers. I want to say it's got a flamboyant storyline. It's got a really, really drama-filled, intense storyline about acceptance and treating people as human and not immediately judging people because of past insecurities or being neighborly and even if you don't get along with your neighbors, you should at least try to be polite and kind to them, and things like that. And it had so many positive messages behind it. And then you had Fae Farm, which is literally just, you can be a fairy and you can farm, and there really wasn't that much. It wasn't deep. It wasn't deep at all. It was very, very it's a fine if you just wanted a farming sim where you just do farming sim things and you don't really care about the story. That's fine. It probably would have gotten a higher rating if I was that sort of person. But I am the sort of person who's like, story is king. If the story doesn't grab me, I'm not gonna care. So yeah, I'm surprised I had 6% in Fae Farm. I think, like I said, I probably would have had it as maybe a C or a D if I hadn't found out that you could just reset the relationship, all of them, whenever you wanted. You could, marry somebody and then reset the relationship and it would just go back to 0 and you could build it up again. It felt really cheap. It felt really cheap as a result, so yeah, that drew my entire enjoyment of it all the way down. Moving on to next, Dave the Diver. Now, Dave the Diver, I only played this 5% this year, and that's because I actually started it last year. Started it, I think, in November of last year. I can check. It doesn't say when I started this game. But I did play a lot of it. I played 80% of my playtime in January was just Dave the Diver. I loved this game. It is 100% an S tier for me. I would totally play it again. So yes, 100% an S tier for me. Loved the game. Thought it was amazing. Loved all of the anime-style cutscenes that you got. I loved Bancho's very stoic personality and how it reacted to some of the other things. And oh god, that reporter lady who refused to let Bancho speak at all. Honestly, really good game. I still need to get back into it. I know there's a Godzilla DLC. I got the Godzilla DLC. I just need to get around to playing it. I know it's just a collectathon sort of thing, but it looked so good. It looked so much fun. And honestly, since I like the Dave the Diver, I'm 100% willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a try. But yeah, if you haven't seen what Dave the Diver is, Dave the Diver is quite literally a game about a sushi restaurant manager who teams up with I want to say an ex-army dude, ex-navy dude maybe, and a sushi chef to run a sushi restaurant. And he spends most of his day diving in the waters around the sushi restaurant, which is set on a boat, and catching fish for the restaurant. There is a much deeper story there involving mermaids, mermen and mermaids, merpeople, that I'm not going to actually reveal because this game is one of those games you really have to experience it. It is an I keep saying that a lot of the cutscenes look like anime. The game itself is an anime sometimes. It is a lot of fun. It is very wild. It is very it's a very endearing game. You will enjoy the shit out of it. All right, next up on the list, Another Crab's Treasure. Now, Another Crab's Treasure, it's a Souls-like with a crab as its protagonist. It is definitely a game that took me a while to get into. I would probably put it at like, would I put it B tier or A tier? C for crab. I mean, okay, valid, but also no. I think I might put it if I remove the not super grabbing thing, I'd probably put Another Crab's Treasure as a B tier. It is one of the few Souls likes that I have managed to get into. There aren't that many. I sometimes struggle with like the style of Souls likes, but this is one that once I got my head around it, once I figured out how it worked and I'd leveled up a little bit more, I definitely had a better time with it. I don't know how I would feel if I wanted to go back to it. If I go back to it, to do like a thimble only run, or like maybe I'd do a more umami focused run, or maybe I would do a more like maybe I might try anyway, it's some sort of variation on gameplay. That's something I might want to do sometime in the future. It's just I did struggle to get into it. It took me a while before I actually like figured out how to play this game, really. It took me a good long while before I actually like really got into the game. In fact, I had like a month-long break where I got up to Heika, who is the chopstick wielding enemy. If you know, you know. I got up to him and I was struggling because I was definitely super underleveled, but I didn't know how to move forward because I hadn't bothered looking up anything just yet. And I took a month-long break to play like something else, which I do not remember which game I played in between. I started playing Another Crab's Treasure in July, and then I think all of August I did not play it at all. And then I picked it up again in September. And it's only in September that I really like got back into the game and really like understood how to play, figured out how to play, and started enjoying it more. So yeah, I'm keeping it in B tier. I'm not bringing it up. It is very bright. It is very cheerful. I think it is a pretty good game all around if you ever get a chance to play Another Crab's Treasure, or if you ever want to get into Souls likes, but you're intimidated by, I don't know, the art style or the difficulty level. Another Crab's Treasure is a fairly decent one to start off with. It's a little bit on the difficult side, but once you figure out how things work, it makes it so much easier. Okay, next up, A Hat in Time. Now, A Hat in Time is a game I've played before. I was replaying it this year. I'll put it at A tier. There are some issues with like the PC port that I have, but actually I don't know if it's like a PC port or if it was just released on PC to begin with. But it is a really good game. I absolutely love it. Maybe I should put it in S tier in that case, because like considering how often I would go back and replay it again. There are some levels that give me a connection, because there is one specific dream level that I was struggling with. And it's got all of the worst usual issues that you would get in a lot of like if you can think of platforming games and then you think about the parts that make it really bad. First off, you don't get enough health in the level, and if you die, you are forced to restart the entire level instead of just restarting at a checkpoint. And the last bit of the level is quite literally everything is lava, and you have to be incredibly technically careful with your jumps, with your dives, with everything. It is. Ooh, I can feel my stress levels rising just remembering that level. In order to get through it faster, the easiest way is to get every single of the little, they're called pawns, but like crown pawns, in the previous levels, before you try and get this level, before you get to the last level. So that way, the only thing you have to do is get one singular crown pawn, and there is an easier one in that last area of that level, which you can grab and then immediately go to the exit. But you have to be careful because at any given moment, you can end up in the lava. So it is such a stressful level. Beyond that, though, I loved the story. I love the plot line. I genuinely feel like it is such a cute, positive game. I don't really regret playing it and replaying it. I'm going to, like, probably in a couple of years' times, I'll replay it again. So yeah, it has a lot of replayability to it. I can't really complain about it. All right, next up on the list, Assassin's Creed Unity. I actually was talking to my sister about this earlier today. Assassin's Creed Unity it's not a terrible game, but it is definitely not like the best game I could have ever played. It helps that they fixed most of the bug issues in Assassin's Creed. In Assassin's Creed Unity, there were still some bug issues though. Like, I ran into bug issues while I was playing Assassin's Creed Unity. It just helps that since it wasn't so terrible, I would put it E tier. The only reason why I wouldn't put it F tier is because I know exactly what I'm going to be listing as F tier, and I really do think those games deserve F tier. The story was incredibly weak in Unity. There's a lot of things that the main characters did. Now, I really liked Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Revelations, which is a surprise to most people. I know a lot of people don't like Revelations, but I really, really hated 3. I felt like 4 wasn't really an Assassin's Creed game. Unity does go back to its Assassin's Creed route, but the story is just so convoluted and stupid. They have it set in the French Revolution, but they're trying to forgive the king and the nobility. They're trying to make it look like the king never did, like, was not actually in the wrong. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's not history. That's really messing up with history. And the fact that, like, you meet Napoleon Bonaparte and you meet, like, a bunch of other supposedly really important oh, hi Amber. One thing you need to know about me is story is king for me. I need to have a solid storyline. I don't want to spend time nitpicking some of the decisions that characters have done. And that is the biggest issue I had with Assassin's Creed Unity. When I think back to the story, your character has no, like, influence on the story. That is terrible. There are stories where your character is an observer, but there needs to be more interaction than just, I went here, I did a thing. The thing I did made no sense, did nothing for the overall story of it. Like, if you try and ask people what the story of Assassin's Creed Unity is, you could boil it down to 2 sentences, but even that wouldn't actually, like, be the story. Your character was raised by, like, is an assassin who has been living with Templars because the Templars and Assassins have a truce. That seems like an interesting story, right? You would want to like interact with the like find out how the politics of all that work. Doesn't matter at all. Could have been any rando across, on the street. I don't think the fact that your love interest is a Templar and your love interest's dad is a Templar means anything in this game. It could have just been like a rival assassin league, and it would have had the same effect. And then there's the whole French Revolution stuff, but you don't have any play in it either. You finish the main story, and it's like really... It's kind of disheartening as a story, because it doesn't really have a positive ending. Like, you beat the bad guy, but the bad guy kills your love interest. Sorry, this entire thing is going to be a lot of spoilers and stuff, so I do understand if anybody needs to alert, because I'm talking about a game that they wanted to play themselves. But yeah. I then played the DLC. I forget the name of the DLC. I'm going to have to look it up again, I think. I don't know. Oh, Dead Kings. Dead Kings is the name of the DLC. Fun fact about the Dead Kings DLC. I accidentally started it without meaning to start it, and then you're forced to go through the entire first mission before you can leave from it. So yeah, you have the DLC, the Dead Kings DLC, and they introduce your character Arno's interactions with this one kid. I don't know who the kid is supposed to be. My knowledge of like the French Revolution and that era it's not strong. It's not strong at all. So I do not remember what or not remember. I don't even know what that particular kid, like who that kid was supposed to be, or if he's supposed to be somebody important in French history or anything. I imagine people who are more familiar with French history would probably have a better time with that game, because they'd be like, oh my god, it's this person, that person. But I feel like they only had various characters pop up in Unity just for the purpose of people going, oh my god, it's this person. But there's no real like personality to the various characters. Like Napoleon Bonaparte pops up, and there's like one other character who also pops up. What's his name? Maximilien Robespierre. Maximilien Robespierre turns up, and I genuinely felt like he was honestly a solid character. I think he's probably the only character who I was like, yeah, okay, I can see why he's in this game about the French Revolution and assassins in the French Revolution. But everybody else is just like, oh my god, you exist. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're here, and I don't really have any attachment to you. Yeah, just there to establish just there as set dressing, which felt like a really wasted chance of a character, I feel. Additionally, the love interest, the way the love interest was constantly going flip forward, backwards on whether she liked Arno and wanted to be with Arno, and whether she hated him for whatever reason. Very wild, very stupid. Also, the fact that, like, apparently a letter to warn her dad was supposed to be delivered by Arno, but Arno wasn't able to get to the to that Grandmaster in time, and thus he died. And then she blames him for that, which seems really stupid, because it was just a series of stupid moments for like the entirety of the story. It's like everybody has to hold the idiot ball in order for any of these actions to make sense. So yeah, I have a lot of issues with Unity. I don't think it's god-awful. I might consider playing it again, maybe, in the future. I don't know. I don't think so, but it's not a crazy idea. However, I probably will not play it again unless I like absolutely have to. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. No, I don't like it. I don't like it, full stop. So it's just sitting in E tier. I feel like there was so much missed potential in that story. There was so much they could have done. I can go on a rant about it forever. So I'm just gonna stop here, otherwise we will be stuck in this loop for a while. All right, next up, Hades 2, which I guess I'll do alongside Hades 1 as well. I'm putting this as an S tier. This is another game that it did take me a little while to get into it, but once I did, I was so hooked. Solid game. I cannot complain about it. It is so well done. So like the storyline is amazing, the music is amazing, the gameplay is amazing. I love it. I love the game, full stop. In contrast, I think I would probably put Hades 2 in maybe more of a B tier. And the reason for this, the reason why I say this, is because I don't think I got as grabbed by Hades 2 as I did by Hades 1 and by so many, like, yeah, literally it. I think I probably would have had a different response if it didn't have the Hades title, because, like, I was hoping for more, maybe I don't want to say interaction, but more like references to the first game. And the way they basically shelved the entire cast of the first game kind of bugs me a little bit. Because I wanted to see like how all of the characters interact later on the line. The music is amazing though. Like, the music, definitely solid choice. I still listen to some of the songs. I still sing some of the songs. But it's in early access, and it definitely needs a little bit more work. There's a couple of issues I have with Hades 2. One's the fact that it feels like they've stretched themselves a little too thin with the game. They have basically 2 different dungeons, which all have like 4 different levels, and each level has like a boss. And I've gotten all the way down to the bottom level of the downwards dungeon, but the upwards dungeon I've only gone to like the boss of the 2nd level. Not horrible, not a horrible idea, but I feel like as a result, because you have more dungeons, I feel like the story suffered as a result. I kind of wish there had been more calm moments between like the various characters. I have not finished Hades 2, so I don't know if this would change if I go back to the game and like I continue onwards. And there's also the fact that it's early access, so I'm keeping it solidly in the B tier. But Hades 1, that's an S tier for me. That's just always going to be at the top of my list. I may one day go back and do a replay of it. That is also it. I feel like it suffers from the fact that it is just gonna constantly be compared to the first game. So, I don't think it's a bad game. I would definitely recommend other people try. If they like Hades 1, I would recommend they try Hades 2. But it is definitely a situation where it's just, it does bring it down a bit. So, next up would be Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is a game that I absolutely adored. There's parts of it that I kind of wish they would fix, and I would love to see a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush, which is the biggest reason I'm keeping it in S tier, because I want more of it. Maybe one day maybe I should keep it in A tier, considering that some of the challenges, they're not easy. Which, okay, that could be a good thing, but I'm not entirely sure it is. Like, I'm not entirely sure it's a good thing that it has that much difficulty. There's such a spike in difficulty. So yeah, I'm keeping Hi-Fi Rush as S tier. It's a really good game. All right, Okami is next on the list, which is, I mean, this is half the reason why I'm keeping it in S tier. Even though I do have issues with some of the way it's like designed and stuff, the story is just so solid and so satisfying that I cannot like not keep it in S tier. Most of my issues are all gameplay related, specifically that in certain areas where certain techniques are not of use, the system that hi Glitchy, the system that it has often confuses between certain brushstrokes. Like, if, for example, specifically in like the digging game, for example, there's no purpose for the refresh brushstroke, but it will often confuse the slice brushstroke with the refresh brushstroke. So yeah, Okami's going into S tier. It's honestly a really, really good game. I enjoyed the shit out of it. And even with this replay, it still makes me laugh. It still makes me giggle. I still get an emotional reaction to it. So yeah, S tier, 100%. What's next on the list? Kina. Okay, so I really liked Kina for its story, but I definitely struggled with the gameplay and the battle sequences. It took me a good chunk of time to get used to the parry system, and even towards the end, I still feel like my parrying was more luck than actual skill. I don't know if that makes me want to put it into A tier or B tier. I might actually put it in between. So here's the thing I'm kind of running into. So my A tier is really good, would play again, and B tier is good game, fun, would play again, might need more work. I think it probably needs to fit more into B than to A, but the story is just so good. The way it tackles like the way it tackles like just the topic of grief and the like, and like the whole themes of like being in tune with nature and all that. I love all of it, but I really do feel it kind of fits in between a little bit. Okay, next up, Resident Evil 2. So I still really like Resident Evil 2, even though it's such a it's so camp. It is very, very, very camp. Also, I've been enjoying I've just really been enjoying speed running it. But yeah, I'm gonna put it into A tier, if only because I'm still doing speed runs of it, and I still enjoy doing speed runs of it. It's kind of satisfying, story wise and all that. It is such a camp game. So I can't really like say that I would recommend it specifically for the story. But I've never played the original RE2. I only played the remake. And as somebody who's only played the remake, all I can say is just I enjoyed it. So yeah, that's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just I enjoyed it, so it's sitting in A tier. And the fact that I keep doing speedruns of it means that it is getting replayed quite a bit. Now Resident Evil 5, which is the next one up. I feel like it's C, but it could be B with a caveat. Don't know if that made like the most sense technically, but yeah, it's probably C tier. Actually, no, it's more like D tier, but C with the caveat. And the reason why I say this is because genuinely, it's one of those games that is only good if you are playing with a friend. Because it's one of those games that, like, definitely a different experience if you are playing on your own versus playing with a friend. So another member of the Baka Knights, Snoodly Bop, was playing this fairly recently. But I do believe he was, or maybe it was 6 he was playing. I think it was technically both 5 and 6, but he was playing solo. He was not playing with a partner. I was playing with Sir Batan. And honestly, Sir Batan makes any game fun. So therefore, Resident Evil 6 wasn't terrible for me. But I do know that for a lot of people, the AI was rather crappy. And so a lot of people struggled with the Resident Evil 5 and 6. it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea for sure, but I don't think like it was particularly bad on its own. I'm also probably going to put this as a C for Resident Evil 6 as a C. Cause, well, actually, no, I'm going to put it as a C. There's a lot of bugs in the game that I feel like probably could use a little bit of work. But I don't think it's inherently bad or anything. I think like it was hilarious. And the fact that I was playing with somebody instead of like playing on my own with the in-game AI made the game a lot easier. And I can just tell that from what I've seen of Max playing it, of Snoodly Bop playing Resident Evil 5 and 6 on his own. It is so much easier when you are working with somebody else. And also, yeah, if you have somebody you're good friends with and you like playing games with them, this game will be fine. I don't think I would ever return to Resident Evil 5 or 6. Okay, let me clarify that. I would not return to Resident Evil 5 or 6 on my own. If somebody who's new to the Resident Evil 5 and 6 wanted to play those games and asked me to play with them, I would play those games with them. But I probably wouldn't play it on my own. The storyline for both of the games, 5 is super action camp. It is like super action camp to the point of almost parody of itself. 6 kind of seemed like it was trying to tone it down, but the story was so messy and confused that like I don't know if they actually managed to achieve that tone down of the action camp to the point of parody thing that they had going for it. I also feel like we got through 5 and 6 real fast. And then let's see. Next up, Resident Evil 7. Honestly, Resident Evil 7 is the one that kicked it off for me. I definitely only started playing Resident Evil in general because of technically 8 and thus 7. I don't really have any complaints in terms of gameplay per se. I did run into a glitch in Resident Evil 7 that I thought was stupid, honestly, but kind of hilarious. So I guess it's okay. Actually, I don't know which tier I'd put it in. Let's see. I might toss it into C as. Actually, no. I think I'll keep it as B. It's not a go-to game. It's not a go-to game. It's a good game. It's fun. I would definitely play it again. I don't think it needs more work. But I think that's it. I enjoyed it. This year is the second time I went through it. Last time I played it, I think, was back in 2021? 2021, I think. I'm not entirely sure. But I really enjoyed the game. Even when it gets silly, it is pretty good. So yeah, I'll keep it in B tier. Pretty solid game all around. Good return to form of like the original horror of Resident Evil. Not exactly the same kind of Resident Evil. I feel like half the jump scares of RE1, for example, and I mean proper RE1. I just played the remastered version, so I don't think there's that much difference between the original RE1 and the remastered version. So at least there's not supposed to be. I think they changed a couple of the voice lines, but beyond that, I don't think they did anything else to it. Like, they definitely didn't change the story, I don't think. But the tank controls in that game, the camera, the tank controls, were half the horror of Resident Evil 1. And I think this does a better job of, like, utilizing a more modern approach to video games compared to Resident Evil 1, for example. Lisa Travers storyline? I don't know who that is. Unless I'm just like misremembering a name or something. Hang on. Who's Lisa Travers? Oh, the lady who's like mom is in the coffin and you gotta push the corners off. Okay, that is the story. Okay. I forgot her name. So that would probably help a little bit. Yeah, actually she's kind of terrifying. So I do kind of like her. Her existence in the game is solid, in my opinion. But yeah, I played the Resident Evil 7. I also went through some of the DLCs. Basically the story DLC, so that's Chris's DLC, the Not a Hero DLC, and the Zoe, the End of Zoe DLC. I went through those two. I did enjoy it, both of them. I would definitely replay it if I probably in another couple of years' time. I might consider replaying it. I don't know for sure. Because there's still like a lot of other horror games that I need to get around to playing. Next up is Ori. So that would include both Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. These are solid A games for me. Even though Ori and the Will of the Wisps kind of irritated me, not because the game is bad or anything, but because I got so very upset at the ending of Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Even then, there's a part of me that wants to go back and replay Ori and the Will of the Wisps and do like a speed run of the game, or at least see how fast I can get through the bosses. That game, I still listen to the soundtrack of both of these games, and I'll listen to them on repeat because they're like the perfect background noise. While I was working, I used to have those playing all the time. As Metroidvanias go, it's probably a little bit more linear than most Metroidvanias go. So I would claim this is more of a Metroidvania light than a solid Metroidvania. Well, okay. Ori and the Blind Forest is more Metroidvania light. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is more Metroidvania. But I do like the fact that Ori and the Will of the Wisps had like full-on bosses. I really liked the fluidity of the gameplay, and I loved the music. I loved the story, except for Will of the Wisps ending. Will of the Wisps ending actually really pissed me off. Like, it made me so mad. Even when I replayed it, it made me mad again. But I guess that does indicate it's a good game. It didn't make me mad because it was like a poor story or anything. It was actually a fairly solid ending narratively. However, I still feel like it was just kind of unfair for poor Ori. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna go into it. I'll end up ranting. And this is one of the ones that I do mind spoiling it for other people, so I will not spoil it for other people. But I really loved Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ori and the Blind Forest. There's a really good reason why I replayed the game. Okay, so next up is Lethal Company. This is another game that I feel is very much one of those that it's going to be very dependent on like who you play with. Oh, I didn't want to move that. It's going to be very dependent on who you play with. I was playing with Lizargo and Dagon, and we were playing it for quite a bit of time. We played regularly February, March, April, May, June. So we played for quite some time. It is a game that you can get a lot of enjoyment out of, and it's fun to watch other people play it too. However, it's going to be dependent on who you play with. And if you don't like add any mods or anything, it will get a little repetitive, a little boring after some time. Once you figured out like the best way to go in, the best things to take care of, what you should watch out for, what are the rules, it starts being more of a chore and less of a like fun game. So I'm going to keep it in the C tier. It's not bad. It can be a lot of good shenanigans. But like most multiplayer games, it's dependent on who your team is. So let's see. Alright, what's next? I already went through Ori, and I did Bioshock, not Bioshock, Resident Evil, Biohazard. Faerie Afterlight. Faerie Afterlight is honestly probably a very unknown game. I saw the gameplay and I thought it looked really cute. It's not a bad game. It was released on Switch recently, I believe. I actually played it on PC. Actually, most of these games I've played on PC only. So Faerie Afterlight, there are some instances where you can find like glitches and the like, but they generally tend to be endearing. Most of the platforming is not particularly difficult. There's a couple of areas where the platforming is a little bit more difficult, but more often than not, it was fairly quick. Really cute game. I would definitely recommend it for people who like Metroidvanias or Metroidvania-like. Also, people who want just like indie game suggestions. This is a pretty decent one. Last I checked, it wasn't super expensive on Steam, but I can't remember. It's been a while. I think I got the code for Faerie Afterlight from Humble Bundle, so there's that. It has been a really, really good game for me to play. The music is pretty nice. I do remember that I think I have one of the songs from the I think it's just the one. No, I have a couple. I have a couple in my own personal music playlist that come from this game. The art style is really cute. Like pretty much everything in this game is really, really nice, really, really cute. Even the story is rather nice. Although I feel like there's a part of me that's like they introduced like a mirror image character version of your character. Your character is this little black blob over here. And you get followed around by this blob over here, this little butterfly fairy thing, Navi-looking character called Wispy. But there was like another white blob version of this that was walking around that you were that kept popping up here and there. But I am so baffled as to why this other character existed. Because like initially I thought maybe you were gonna have to fight that other character at some point. No, you don't even team up with the other character. It's just there. So I like the fact that there's like two different endings, and each of the endings like are supposed to signify something or the other. And the fact that it's supposed to be based off of Indonesian shadow puppetry, which was kind of an interesting concept, and I'm wondering if that added into how all of the characters in the game were identified. I do have some issues with the game, specifically things like how there were instances where your character can just, like, since your character is such a dark colored character, will disappear into the background. Especially with the final boss. The final boss is a big shadow monster in a dark room, where it's like the shadow monster is a really dark, he's either colored black or he's colored dark navy blue. And then the room itself is just like a slightly lighter dark blue. So it was and your character is already a dark color too. So it's really easy for you to get lost in that. The worst part is when you have the true ending unlocked, you go from that ridiculously dark colored landscape to suddenly white in like the final phase of the boss fight. It was infuriating because it was genuinely like very, very, very hard to like nuts. So I would increase the brightness on my computer all the way during the dark area, and then it would go to the light area, and I'd have to like pause, lower the brightness on my computer, and continue playing, because otherwise I would be giving myself a headache by looking at my computer at the maximum brightness. But all that aside, I still think that game is really cute. I think it's worth giving a try if you haven't tried it yourself. Okay, so that's Faerie Afterlight. Fairly short, I think. I played that mostly through January, and that was about it. Still a good game. I liked it. Witchy Life Story. Witchy Life Story is effectively an RPG. It's literally you it's a dialogue game. You got to respond to like what all of the other characters are going to say and interact with them all and all that stuff. But I think the biggest issue I had with the story is that's not the way I would react. Hi, Dagon. Sorry, but that did not get me. Appreciate the attempt. Witchy Life Story is definitely one of the ones that I would not put as at C at best. It's a C at best. It probably personally is a D or an E for me, but not because the game is bad or anything, but because unfortunately, the main character, her choices are so wildly different from my own choices. Like, I would not do the things that she did at all in the slightest. Maybe it's just like the way I was raised or whatever, but I generally tend to have like a very hostess mindset when I'm dealing with other people sometimes. Like I want to make sure they're comfortable, yada yada, etc. etc. And it really felt like this character was just very selfish in a lot of the ways. That's not inherently bad, and the rest of the story is like really sweet, and there's something to be said about a character who like puts on a front of like arrogance or confidence when they're not actually confident at all. Like maybe they are constantly aware of how much they are lacking, and they put on this front in order to like hide that. But it's like they took the whole fake it till you make it concept for this character, and it just went so far. Like, so far beyond what I was comfortable with. So, this game probably isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I know it definitely wasn't my cup of tea, but I don't think that means that it wouldn't be other people's cup of teas. I think it's a fairly solid game. The gameplay wasn't bad, and it's a pretty good dialogue game. You got a good idea of how the various characters acted and all that, and there's very endearing traits about a lot of these characters. I also kind of take umbrage with the way the town was like kind of projecting how much they were failing onto this character, your character, but that didn't really feel like, yeah, I had that gripe, but I also had the gripe of my main character was like kind of a dick. Maybe a well-meaning dick, but still a dick. Nine Souls. I really like Nine Souls. I like the design of the characters, the world, the honestly everything about this game. I probably would class it as an A tier. I think a lot of the issues I've been having are not actually game specific. They are more my controller specific. Like, I think my controller is having issues a little. So I don't think it's the game's fault that I'm struggling with some of the parry system and stuff like that. And to be fair, in general, I am not the best at parrying. So it makes sense that I'm struggling a little bit more with this game than I usually would. But it is so satisfying. So very satisfying to beat some of the bosses in this game. Like, the number of times I've just been like, yes, after I beat a boss. And the story is dark. Like, heck, this is a fairly dark image, but it is not inaccurate. Like, it does not shy away from some of its darker themes. And when they say this game is about revenge and all that, they're not lying. It really is about revenge. It's about justice and revenge is probably the best way I would put it. So I can't really like blame anybody who wants to skip it because it is a little more of a darker themed game, even though it's so colorfully drawn. However, the music is so solid, the gameplay is fairly solid. I have enjoying the shit out of it. And it, like I said, it is so satisfying when you beat a boss in this game. Not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, but I have been enjoying it, and that's why I've kept it into the A tier. The only reason why I haven't put S tier is because I haven't finished the game yet. So I don't know if I'm going to continue feeling that way. Maybe, I don't know, some major crazy thing happens in the story and I end up not liking it. But it could also have like a really, really nice ending that makes me like want to replay it. So I don't know. I'll keep it in the A tier for now. I guess I'll only find out when I finish the game. All right, next game is A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, which is also the game that I am currently editing and putting up on YouTube. Good game. I genuinely like the game. I think it has been well done. There are parts of what I've seen that definitely could use a little bit of work, a little bit of polish. But considering it is kind of an indie game, I don't know if you'd count it as an indie game. And if somebody thinks it shouldn't be counted as an indie game, please let me know, because I kind of view it as an indie game. It's not any of the bigger game series. There are issues with like the gameplay and some of like the monster I guess tracking and such. Like sometimes it seems like the monsters are too responsive. Sometimes it seems like your character is doing something that they shouldn't do. The fact that like when you get out of cutscene, it automatically drops you into run mode and it shouldn't. Things like that. Small things that probably could use a little bit of fixing, but it's not inherently bad. It's actually pretty good considering. Like, this is a game that I definitely would want to replay. I want to replay it on the hard mode and see how I do. There is a lot of potential in doing a replay, especially since apparently hard mode adds more monsters, so some of the slower parts will actually feel a little bit more hectic, I guess. Don't know if that's good or not, but it is definitely something I'd be willing to look into. But I am going to keep it only B tier, not A tier, and that's simply because it was a good game, but there's so many like quiet moments in it that don't like the number of times you're forced to like slow crawl through an area, not because there are monsters in the area, but because any loud noise causes like the monsters to just jump down your throat. There's things that could like it is definitely artificially slowed down and could use a lot more a lot better handling at the very least. I don't think it's got like game-breaking bugs or anything. It's a pretty decent game overall. I didn't really have that many complaints, and I enjoyed playing it. So, yep, B tier. All right, next up on the list, Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. Now, I absolutely love the shit out of Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I think the story of Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is so good. I love it so much. The story of Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, the gameplay style is such a big difference from the first game that I was genuinely like confused on whether or not it was whether it was the right game or not. So that is definitely something I gotta consider when I'm ranking this. I'm putting it in the B tier, but I think it's like a lower B. Like, I don't mind replaying it because it is kind of fun once I got over the fact that it wasn't like Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Once I figured out, okay, it's a different style of game entirely, I was enjoying it. But I don't think it's like I don't think it's as good as say Faerie Afterlight or Resident Evil or even Kena in terms of like how much I was enjoying playing the game, because I liked the game, I enjoyed it, but like it wasn't really what I was looking for when I heard that Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion was getting a sequel. I was expecting more of the same, and I didn't get that, and so it did kind of dampen my enjoyment of the game. So B tier, but lower B. Next up, Phasmophobia, which honestly, again, it's another situation where I think I have a lot of these games this year where I have a lot of like multiplayer games where it is very much dependent on who you play with. I've played with some not so great people before, but I've also played with like some really good people. And yeah, I definitely think it's another situation. I'd probably put it in B because I think Phasmo is one of those games that I could potentially play on my own, and it's a good horror game, so I'd probably keep it as a B. I I started playing Graveyard Keeper at a time where I was going through a lot of stuff mentally. So it was like I was already feeling really, really down in the dumps. And I played Graveyard Keeper, and Graveyard Keeper is kind of morbid and macabre and depressing in its own right. If you like think a little too hard about any of the stuff in the game, you will feel down. Um, so Graveyard Keeper, it's a good game, but I don't think I am gonna go back to it anytime soon. I don't think I enjoy it as much as I like enjoy Sun Haven and Wylde Flowers, and even Fae Farm to some extent was more enjoyable to me than Graveyard Keeper. And that's not because Graveyard Keeper is a bad game or anything. It's a fairly solid game. It's a good farming sim. Um, I think this is going to be our first D tier. And it's not because the game is bad. It's just I was not in the right mental space when I started it. And when I revisited this year, I realized I still don't think I can like go back to the game comfortably without feeling like I'm gonna feel depressed again. So yeah. Again, not a reflection of how the game is. I feel like in any other circumstance, in any other year, I probably would like not even any other year, any other time, I probably would have had a better time of playing this game than I did this year. And it's not even its fault. It's just I was under a bad situation, like mentally. Yep. Played a bunch in March, and then played a little in September. And the bit in March was like a couple of streams, but they were all clustered in one go. And then the bit in September was me trying to attempt it again, and then realizing it probably wasn't the sort of game for me. Unfortunately, D tier. Magicka 2. This is another game that is very much shenanigans, and there's so many glitches in this game. It's one of those things where the glitches have become endearing, but the fact of the matter is there are a lot, and I do mean a lot, of glitches in this game. And I don't think it's like inherently a bad thing, but like the number of times, like I'm sure, like the guy played this with Lizargo and Dagon, and so I'm pretty sure Dagon would probably remember some of these as well. There were instances where a character would get stuck, or like something would happen and we'd glitch out, or there were some certain bosses that were just very difficult to get through. There were only 3 of us, but we still had like the occasional boss that was just stupid difficult for some reason. Magicka 1 just crashes in multiplayer. Again, I'm not blaming that or anything. I enjoyed playing with you guys, but I think that was more because of you guys than because anything the game itself is inherently doing. It would help if we could learn not to kill each other by accident. Yeah. It's shenanigans the game, which can be good, but it can also be bad. So I'll just keep it in like C tier. To be fair, I feel like Lethal Company could probably go into B tier. and it would be fine. It'd probably be more matchy. So yeah, okay, I'm moving that to B tier. But I'm keeping Magicka in C tier. It's a game that really just depends on who you're playing with, but it can get very frustrating and it can get very irritating at times. Probably would not replay Magicka. Like, it's not a go-to. It's a good game. It's not a go-to. And it's a little bit more dependent on, like, who you play with than anything else. The story is hilarious, though. Which is why it's not D tier. Okay, so next up, Death's Door. Death's Door is an automatic S tier for me. Automatic. It is one of the games, it's probably the only game, that got me back into Souls-likes. I played, like, in that break I took for Another Crab's Treasure, I tried out Death's Door, and I enjoyed the game so much, I continued with Another Crab's Treasure. It is that good a game. Like, that is how much I enjoyed Death's Door. That is how much I enjoyed Death's Door. It made me love want to play a different game as well. Yeah, Death's Door, automatic S tier for me. Solid game, loved it a lot. I fully intend on replaying Death's Door at some point and doing like an umbrella only run, which is probably going to be very difficult. Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Wilde. I do like the game. I don't know how much. I guess I'll keep it in B tier for now. I don't know if it's as lucrative as most people make it out to be. Like, it's not inherently, like, bad or anything. I just not sure. Okay, Monster Hunter World, like I said, I think I'm keeping it in B tier. I think I need to play more in order to know if I really like the game or not. It's not bad, but I feel like it may not necessarily be my kind of style, I guess. Wilds, I'll keep in C, if only because we literally only tried... Actually, you know what? I did have a lot of fun with Wilds. I guess Wild can be another B. I don't know when it comes out. I hope it comes out soonish, because I would like to play some more of it. It did seem interesting, but I'm not that... Like, if it doesn't come out for a little while longer, I don't think I'm going to be, like, super upset or anything about it, so... Next up, Terraria. Terraria is a game that I definitely could see myself play on my own, and definitely could see myself play with friends. It's a good time all around. I don't really have any complaints about it, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it in the A tier. I can see that after this next one, there is a horrid game that I absolutely did not like. So, Played Up. Played Up, again, is another one I'm going to put into the B tier. It's a game that is... Actually, you know what? I'll put it into B tier. It is not necessarily a go-to game, but I don't mind playing it, and I do enjoy playing it with other people. I also enjoy playing it on my own, because it can be some fairly fun shenanigans when people get into shenanigans, and it's fun. It's fun. It has its definite positives, and like everything that could be negative for the game, the little glitches and stuff, I think that's part of its charm. Because like if you weren't panicking over accidentally picking up a mop instead of picking up the seaweed, would you enjoy Played Up as much? So, there are some people who turn it like into an entire kind of automated system. I feel that it's very based on luck, but I don't think that is like my end goal. It'll be nice if a restaurant is a little bit more automated, but I am not going to fret if it's not, you know? So, not definitely a solid B. Okay, so now we get to the game that I was looking at that I was like, oh, this game. And that is Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. I think I would enjoy this game more if it weren't so very frustrating. Like, it's got such a solid premise, and it's really interesting. The idea that it's a platformer where you are you have to swap between forms in order to complete certain parts of it, right? Really cool idea. Well implemented. However, the PC port, which technically this game is like a remake, technically this is a remake. A remake of like, I think an arcade game? I'm not sure. But there is a weird slidiness to the mechanic. I had to very much rely on a walkthrough to figure out where I was going for a lot of it. So I wasn't really able to just like explore and figure out, and it got very, very frustrating because there's like this weird slidiness to the physics of the game. Like it felt like every single block you were walking on was an ice block because in order to finish the walk cycle, they would have you take one additional step, whether or not you're actually taking that step, which meant all of the platforming was just twisty, to say the least. Not suited at all. So I got very, very frustrated very, very quickly. Would I put it as an E or an F tier instead? Actually, yeah, I think I will put it as an F tier. I definitely stopped enjoying the game fairly quickly into it. And I wish they had done a little better with it. I'm kind of livid. I do not like how the game was for me. It was just really, really, really slidey, really frustrating. I quickly started dreading playing the game. So I know it's a favorite for a lot of people who played this game in the past. I could not get into it. It was too slidey. It was too frustrating in a lot of ways. And yeah, no. Just all of the no. Next up, Subnautica. Subnautica is a game I didn't expect to like as much as I have thus far, even though I played it like only once or twice. No, literally only one stream. I've been enjoying it. I will probably be, if I stream while I'm away, I will most likely be playing some more Subnautica because that's one of the games I can play without camera. So I would probably put this as, let's say, an A tier. It's like, it really does emphasize the vastness of the ocean. I think they've done a pretty good job with it. I've enjoyed it. The story does seem pretty enthralling, and I would like to see more of where they're going to go with it. So yeah, that's a game I'd like to see more of. Thus far, it does seem very, very interesting. And it does seem like a game I can like sink hours into without any issue. So yeah, golf with your friends. This is a game I wholeheartedly love. Like, I can play ages of this game with so many of my friends. It is such a solid game. It's just so chill and so much fun, and it is a different type of S tier as like some of the other games I've got up there. Like, one thing you'll notice with all of the other S tier games is it is very much kind of story heavy sort of stuff. This one, on the other hand, this one is probably the only not story heavy one that I've got up there that I just loved the shit out of, would love to play more of. Don't know when, but would definitely play more of this. Like, this is a game that if people are like, oh yeah, we want to play some games together, let's play golf with friends, I'd be like, yeah, sure. So yeah, that. Also, we finally got to try out some of like the custom maps that people have made, and some of them are really, really good. It feels like Mario Maker, for example, where the way you play is going to be very much dependent on who you play with and like how you personally play, as well as like what sort of maps other people have made. Because there's some really good maps and there's some wild, crazy, what the fuckery maps. So it really depends on what you get. I still recommend it as a game. It's a lot of fun. Okay, next up is The Pedestrian. So The Pedestrian is, honestly, it's a very trippy game. I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. It was very interesting, and the puzzles were inventive. It's fairly light on story, like really, really fairly light on story, but I don't think that really takes away from it. This is definitely a solid B tier game. Or maybe I would put it at C tier because I don't know if I would replay it. Like it's a good game. It's not a go-to, but it's a good game. So yeah, I guess I would put it solid C tier. Solid C tier game. Oh god. Next up is Titan Souls. This is a game I kind of abhor. I detest this game. And I think the biggest reason why I detest this game is it is a very brutal, very punishing game, and it doesn't need to be. It just got frustrating and frustrating and frustrating. I will probably never go back to it. Just all of the no. I played Titan Souls because it was made by the same company that made Death's Door, and I loved Death's Door. I thought it was such a solid game. But Titan Souls is a boss rush where you literally only have 1 HP point the entire time. The controls are a little screwy. More often than not, I felt like the game wasn't even like listening to what I was inputting. And I just got more and more frustrated more and more quickly. And I don't know about y'all, but I am not the sort of person who enjoys being frustrated all the time. I want to see progress. And the fact that, like, the difference between progress and frustration in this game was like, that's it. Fine hairline between the two. Which meant that, like, the moments when you got frustrated were very, very meagerly different than the moments where you made progress. So, like, at any given moment, the same feeling could be in either situation. It was it was draining. It was not a fun time for me, and I don't think I wouldn't recommend it to anybody else. I wouldn't try playing it. I didn't even manage to finish the game because it just got too frustrating for me. Just way too much. Yeah, even now, thinking back to it, still frustrating. Still irritating. Don't want to deal with it again. No thank you. Okay, so next up, Boxes Lost Fragments. You know, this is not a bad game. The ambiance reads spooky, but the game itself was just kind of like, it never actually got like fully jump scary. There's like some implications in the storyline that were interesting, but I really kind of wished it was you know what, actually it'd probably be a C tier. Not a bad game, but definitely not like a return game. I feel like once you've played it once, I don't know if there's that much that many reasons to return to it. So I'd probably say give it a try if you like puzzle games. That is literally all I gotta say. Like, it's a good puzzle game, but I don't think it's like I will play this game over and over again, like, I don't know, something like Dorfromantik or Mini Motorways. So alright, next up is ABZÜ, which is the game that has been sitting at the bottom over here because it's the technically the first in the alphabetical list and all that. ABZÜ is such a cute game. I think the thing that really endeared me to it is the fact that, like, there's so many, it's just really pretty. The game is absolutely gorgeous. The story is all inferred. It's the sort of like storytelling you would expect from something like Journey. And it is, I didn't say this when I was playing it. ABZÜ is like Journey, but underwater. That is the best way you can describe it. It's Journey, but underwater. So you can think picturesque with things that you can like collect and stuff. There are little things that you can collect. If you really liked Journey, you'll really like ABZÜ. It's cute. It's adorable. but it definitely had its like it doesn't have much in terms of like story gameplay solidly. It is very much a case of just be along for the ride, enjoy the view, you'll have fun. It'll be very, very cute. But that's about it. All right. A Year of Springs. I really liked A Year of Springs. It has got such a deep story. And it's such a cute storyline. Also, like, it talks about like some of the struggles that a trans person might deal with. So it focuses on 3 women in Japan. And one of them is a trans woman. So there are there are things like where they're trying to organize an onsen trip for all 3 of them together. But certain businesses just won't let trans people in, or they're like women only, and yada yada, etc., etc. So they wouldn't let this trans woman in, and it's heart-wrenching in its own way, but it really does provide like an insight into how life is for a lot of trans people, well, specifically trans women. So I love the shit out of it. It is such a cute game, and I would love to like go back and maybe try some of the alternate dialogue options. I don't know if it would change much. Also, the art style is gorgeous. I don't think I would ever replay it on stream, and it's not because it's a bad game or anything. It's because my voice kind of wore out by the end of it. That is literally the only reason. That's why I don't play that many like reading text stories. Because of the fact that like my voice is just gonna straight up go. I think I'll put it in A tier. It's a solid game. It's a good game. There's no major bugs there's no bugs in it, full stop. And it's got such a sweet little storyline. Just honestly good shit all around. Good shit. Next up, the Outlast Trials. I didn't mind this game. Again, this very much feels like a game where you kind of need to have people who are willing to play the game with you. I don't know if I'd ever bother like soloing this game. But it was pretty fun when I did play it. It's just that most of the people who I play with, they are on the other side of the country. So time zones kind of get in the way. I'd probably put it as a B tier, honestly. Oh, here's another one which is going straight into my F tier list, I think. Maiden Spell. Maiden Spell is the next game up. And my biggest... Okay, honestly, I probably wouldn't put it as a... It's a bullet hell game. It's not a bad game on its own. I would probably put it into E tier. Honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to bother playing it again. So I got through basically all but the final boss of the one run that I was doing. And the irritating part is that final boss has this one move that is just completely black the entire screen until you die. I don't know how you're supposed to survive it. Yeah, no, I got frustrated with it, and so I do not like that game. It is on my E list. This game is adorable. This game was so cute. I would absolutely love to have a sequel. I would have loved for there to be a sequel. I hope there's a sequel one day. If I go and replay any of the games that I have on this list, this is probably one of the games that I'll have on, like, I would definitely replay. I probably wouldn't call it S tier, but it is a solid A if it's not an S. So yeah, Duck Detective. Adorable. And I would definitely play it again. Maybe I'd try and see how fast I can get through the game. I really want another Duck Detective game. It's just so cute. So I guess next one is Among Us. So again, Among Us is another game that is very, very dependent on like who you play with. I would probably put it as a C. It's one of those games that I generally only play with like people I know. and it's not really like a go-to or anything. And I think I still prefer the hide and seek rounds to everything else. And I think that's more because like the hide and seek rounds don't require that many people, so you can organize more easily for a hide and seek round of Among Us than you can of like a regular round of Among Us. It's fun. It's a lot of good fun, but I feel like I enjoyed it more during the pandemic than I do now. And that's because I have other games that I can play that are equally fun that I was enjoying. Dogs Huddled Together. We're getting to like the tail end of the list, so a lot of these are just like games I played like a tiny amount of, and then I was just like, that's it. Or I played off stream mostly. So Dogs Huddled Together, very, very cute game. It is a puzzle game, and it's adorable. It's basically kind of like you are assembling a puzzle of various types of dogs. It's cute. It's fun. And some of the pictures are just the most adorable, and the noises that they make, the music is also pretty good. I would definitely recommend it to people who want like a cozy game that they can just chill to. But it is more of a C tier thing, because there is another game that I would definitely put above this game as a chill game to play. This game is fun if you have a little bit of more of an artistic mindset, and you like the sorts of like, if you had one of those puzzles where they were just like random pieces that you had to align together to make an overarching picture, like where the puzzle pieces aren't like the usual puzzle piece shape. They're like, if you are trying to assemble a puzzle of a bird's wing, it'll be like each individual feather of the bird's wing in a particular order. It's like paint by numbers, but puzzle pieces. So it's cute, it's adorable, it's a lot of fun, but it's not necessarily like what everybody will enjoy, I guess. Okay, so this game is actually a Hades clone. Yeah, so Sworn, not a bad game. It's a clunkier version of Hades. It does seem interesting because I do like the idea of like various Fae or Fae adjacent entities being your gods and goddesses in this game. It's like an Arthurian version of Hades. So I think Sworn is probably better off being a D, because it's meh. And I don't know if that's just because I haven't played enough of it yet. Like, I don't think I have seen enough of the story to know if it is worth pursuing. Where was I? I was at Sworn, wasn't I? Oh, okay, so the next one is Sayonara Wild Hearts. Sayonara Wild Hearts, it's a game that gives me a lot of mixed feelings. I have a major caveat for anybody who wants to play Sayonara Wild Hearts. It is a lot of fun and very cool. However, it was messing with my eye strain a lot. That game is very, very flashing colors. It's a fun game. It's a really cool rhythm game, and the concept of it is amazing. I love it. I love the music in it. I love the thing. So, I like the premise of it, but imagine this. It is just constantly flashing all of these colors that you see on screen. It is constantly like, oh, how do I show this off? That game gave me a migraine. I don't hate this game. I think it's really cool, and I would love to watch other people play it. There were no things that you like. The colors were flashing, and everything was pulsing constantly, which just gave me such a headache by the end of it. So yeah, I would put it into E tier simply because of that. Like, it genuinely was giving me health issues, so that's why I have to put it into E tier. Even though the story, like, there is no way to adjust the color on the game. There's no way to like make make it less flashy or less pulsy, make anything less. No option for it. Which meant that it was just constantly flashy, 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 flashy. Which meant that really, really quick, I ended up with eye strain and I ended up with a headache, which. So, as much as I wanted to enjoy the game, I was just constantly dealing with the flashes. And it. Like, I'm lucky, I don't have epilepsy or anything, but I'm pretty certain it would trigger an epileptic attack in somebody who had epilepsy. And I know it gave me a migraine, so I have to keep it lower on the list. Just out of like sheer let me not deal with this again. There's a reason why it's not even on my list of like let me redo this in the future maybe, or even on my wheel. If you're wondering what the wheel is, I don't know if I have it over here or if it'll load. There we go. You will notice it's like solo Phasmo. I had another Hades Aphrodite run in the version of this that is specifically for the subathon. I had things like Maiden and Spell attempt, which is one of the things. But you will notice there is no listing of Sayonara Wild Hearts in here. Even though that's a game that would definitely count as a game that I could just do put on the wheel. And that is simply because of the fact that it gave me a genuine headache. And I don't think it's safe for I don't think it's safe for me. The story was good. The story was nice. I really liked like a lot of the character designs in Sayonara Wild Hearts. There was a particular level that I really, really liked where you were fighting this one person who got split into two different people. Like one of them had a black, like half a heart mask, and then the other one had a white half a heart mask. And they, the music, like depending on which one was clicking, it would flip what the level would look like. Like the level kept swapping between these two technically swapping between these two levels, and they were just slightly different, and you had to like pay attention to which one was which. So I thought that was really, really cool, especially that particular level. I just wish that game wasn't so flashy. That's probably my only like complaint about it. All right, next one is Yono and the Celestial Elephants. Now, I absolutely adored Yono and the Celestial Elephants. So, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people are familiar with this game. Yono basically is this celestial elephant who is the equivalent of, I guess, this world's gods. But Yono is a very young celestial elephant and hasn't had a chance to like really grow into their power. So they're discovering the world, talking to people, learning about like the different races in the world, and it's mostly puzzly and with a tiny bit of platforming. There are some bugs that pop up every now and again, but it's just a very, very cute game. Very, very cute game. I don't think I have any complaints about it, really. The ending was a little bit trippy and weird, but it was still a really fun game overall. The music is also like really good, even though it like the entire music just felt a little circusy. But I don't think I'm actually complaining about it. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I'd put it as a solid A. I'd definitely play it again if I had to. I didn't really like. I know some people had issue with some bugs in the game, but I never came across like a major bug myself. So I don't know how badly those bugs were. Fun, cute game. Not particularly long. I think the game itself is like just a couple of hours, really. About 10 hours, 11.6 hours. So yeah, it's not a very long game. Very, very cute. I would definitely recommend it if anybody else wants like a very cute game about an elephant. All right, next up is Dungeon Clawler. So Dungeon Clawler, interesting game. I kind of like the premise, but I don't think it's like a game that I would continue playing on stream. When I played it, I think I was playing the demo. I can check that actually. It'll say on Steam if I was playing the demo. Yeah. The version I played was the demo. I don't know if the full version is out yet. And it's definitely a game you could sink a couple hours into, although the music would probably get very irritating very quickly. I would probably put it as like a C, I guess. It's not really my style of game, but I don't think it's bad. Run of the mill. C. Okay, so next up, I mean, I have Dorfromantik on this list. I don't know if I played it on stream, if I played Dorfromantik on stream. It could have very well been that I didn't play Dorfromantik on stream. I played it offline. I'm going to include it in here because I cannot remember. It's a game that I've often dipped into when I'm like waiting to like if I finish one game and I'm waiting until it's time for me, Lizargo, and Dagon to play something. Dorfromantik is the game I play in between. So it could very well be that I did play it on stream. I just do not remember. But I love Dorfromantik. Dorfromantik is a puzzle game where you have these hexagonal tiles, and each of the tiles can have up to 3 different things on it. It can, or like 3 items from this list. So it could either be a set of houses, a set of trees, a waterway, a railway, like a railway tracks, a set of fields, or a blank square. And what's on the tile will usually be up to 3 of those, of that list. And you have to tile things together. In fact, if I just, so you can see how like all of the tiles are hexagons. But then, for example, this tile has a waterway on it, but then this tile has like one little corner that has a bunch of houses. So you could line up that houses tile with one of the other houses tiles, if there's any houses tiles on the ends, for example. And the aim is to chain as many of these tiles together as possible. Different tiles will have different quests on them. Like you might get a house tile where it's like it wants to be part of a town of at least this many houses. And so when you get to that many houses connected up to that tile, you will get like the bonus is getting more tiles, basically. So you try and fill these quests in order to get more tiles so you can just continue playing. There is an endless mode that you could choose to do instead, but it like the goal is usually just filling out the quests. So all of the DLC, as far as I'm aware, is like free and unlockable in the game itself. So I really enjoy Dorfromantik. Dorfromantik is my go-to calm down game. Like when I just want to sink some time into a game where I'm not like having to do more thinking than to like try and connect up tiles, that is the game I go to. I would put it, I guess, I don't know if I'd put it as A tier or B tier, simply because of the fact that like I don't really play this game on stream. I generally tend to play it offline more than anything else. I'll keep it as B tier. But it is definitely a game I'd recommend to anybody else who's like fond of a game, something like Mini Motorways, or like that one bridge game. Yeah, I'd definitely suggest Dorfromantik if you're fond of those games. Just Shapes and Beats is another one. I don't know if I played it on stream or if I played it offline. I think I did play Stardew Valley on stream. Again, both of these I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to add them to the list, but I'm not entirely sure if I played them on stream or not. So, if I did play Just Shapes and Beats, it was probably just like one of the challenge runs that they were doing, that they have online, the public runs. I like Just Shapes and Beats. Just Shapes and Beats is a very, very cool game. It is my kind of rhythm game. And it's got a lot of like I guess quirks to it that are really adorable. There was like they did a Halloween release from ages back where it was Undertale themed. They had Spider Dance in it. Yeah, it's always nice when you see your fandoms like crossover. I would put it at, okay, so I would probably put it A tier with the caveat that you need to be a rhythm game player. If you are not, then you probably won't enjoy this game as much. Actually, you know what? Considering everything, I would probably just put it as S tier. This is a game I don't mind replaying and replaying and replaying. So, and then finally Stardew Valley, which is definitely another S tier game for me. I know there was like another update recently that I want to go and explore a little bit more. I mean, what's not to say about Stardew Valley? If you've played any sort of farming sim game, you've probably heard of Stardew Valley at least once. All right. So I think that is the entirety of the tier list. This is the final tier list. This is not too bad. So in S tier, we have Cult of the Lamb, Dave the Diver, A Hat in Time, Hades, Hi-Fi Rush, Okami, Death's Door, Golf with Your Friends, Just Shapes and Beats, and Stardew Valley. In A tier, we have Wylde Flowers, Sunhaven, Resident Evil 2, Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Nine Souls, Terraria, Subnautica, A Year of Springs, Duck Detective, and Yono and the Celestial Elephants. In the B tier, we have Fields of Mistria, Another Crab's Treasure, Hades 2, Resident Evil 7, Faerie Afterlight, A Quiet Place the Road Ahead, Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, Phasmophobia, Lethal Company, Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Wilds, Played Up, ABZÜ, The Outlast Trials, and Dorfromantik. Additionally, we have Kena Bridge of Spirits kind of halfway between A and B because the story is A, but the controls were a little B for me. In the C tier, we have Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, Witchy Life Story, Magicka 2, The Pedestrian, Boxes, Lost Fragments, Among Us, Dogs Huddled Together, and Dungeon Clawler. In the D tier, we have Graveyard Keeper, through no fault of its own, it's admittedly because of me, Sworn. In E tier, we have Fae Farm, Assassin's Creed Unity, Maiden Spell, and Sayonara Wild Hearts. Although Sayonara Wild Hearts is only there because it would give me a migraine otherwise. It would be higher if it wasn't for that. Like, heck, I've played Just Shapes and Beats. Just Shapes and Beats has a very similar, like, style, but they also have the ability to turn off some of the photosensitive stuff. So, in F tier, as in games I am never playing again, or even looking at, we have Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap because of its glitchy, slidey physics and the intense frustration I got from it. And we have Titan Souls for very similar frustration reasons. So yeah, that's my tier list.